What if I told you that one of the most dangerous things you do for your heart might happen after you turn off the lights? Not running, not lifting weights, not even something obviously unhealthy. Something as ordinary as eating dinner too late, taking your medication at the wrong time, ignoring your snoring, drinking too little water, or sleeping in the wrong temperature. These habits seem harmless, but night after night, they can place additional stress on your cardiovascular system. And here's the part one really want you to remember. Your heart doesn't stop working when you fall asleep. It simply changes how it works. And after 60, your body's ability to handle certain nighttime stresses may not be what it was at 30 or 40. Today, I'm going to show you 5 nighttime habits you should know about, and more importantly, what you can do differently starting tonight. Stay until the end, because I'll give you a simple evening heart protection routine you can actually follow. And habit number 3 is something millions of people do every night without realizing there could be a problem. Let's begin. Think about what happens when you fall asleep. Your body slows down. Your heart rate decreases. Your blood pressure normally falls. Your entire system begins shifting into recovery mode. That's a good thing. But as we get older, our blood vessels can become stiffer, blood pressure regulation can become less predictable, and existing cardiovascular problems can make the body less resilient to sudden changes. That's why the hours when you're asleep deserve more attention than most people give them. And here's the key. Your nighttime health doesn't begin when you close your eyes. It begins with what you do in the hours before bed. What you eat, what you drink, what medication you take, how you sleep, even the temperature of your bedroom. So let's talk about the 5 habits. Let me ask you something. What time did you eat dinner last night? 8 o'clock? 9? Maybe even 10? And what was on the plate? A large portion of rice or pasta? Meat? Something fried? Maybe dessert afterward? Then you sat on the couch for a while and went straight to bed. If that sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. But here's what many people don't realize. A large meal requires your digestive system to work harder. Blood flow shifts toward digestion, your metabolism becomes more active, and certain blood fats can rise after eating. Now imagine doing all of that just before asking your body to enter its nighttime recovery period. Your heart is trying to settle down while your digestive system is saying, "We're not finished yet." That's not necessarily an emergency. But if you already have cardiovascular risk factors, you don't want to make nighttime recovery harder than it needs to be. And there's another problem. Eating close to bedtime can contribute to acid reflux and poor sleep, both of which can make nighttime symptoms more uncomfortable and harder to distinguish from cardiac symptoms. So here's the simple change. Whenever your schedule allows, try to finish your main meal several hours before bedtime. If you genuinely need something later, keep it lighter rather than turning it into another full dinner. Think reasonable portion, lean protein, vegetables, and less heavy, fatty food. You don't need a perfect diet. You need a better routine. And that brings us to habit number 2. This one deserves your attention. If you're taking medication for high blood pressure, don't automatically assume that when you take it is irrelevant. Blood pressure naturally changes throughout the day. For many people, it falls during sleep, but some people don't experience that normal nighttime decline. In some cases, blood pressure can remain elevated or even rise during the night or early morning. And that's why medication timing is something worth discussing with your doctor. But please listen carefully. Do not change your medication schedule on your own. Different medications work differently. Different people have different medical conditions. And what is appropriate for one person may be completely inappropriate for another. Instead, ask your doctor a very simple question. Is the timing of my blood pressure medication right for me? That's it. One conversation. Your doctor can look at your medication, your blood pressure pattern, your other conditions, and decide whether your current schedule makes sense. And if you've never discussed this before, put it on your list for your next appointment. Because sometimes the most important health improvement isn't adding another pill. It's making sure you're using the treatment you already have correctly. Now let's talk about something much easier to dismiss. Something people laugh about. Something that may happen every single night. Snoring. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe someone has told you, "You snore terribly." and you laughed it off. Everybody snores. But sometimes snoring isn't just an annoying nighttime sound. It can be a sign of sleep apnea. And sleep apnea matters because your breathing repeatedly stops or becomes severely restricted during sleep. When that happens, your oxygen level can fall. Your brain detects the problem. Your body responds. Stress hormones increase. Your heart rate can jump. Your blood pressure can rise. And then you go back to sleep. This cycle can happen again and again and again, sometimes dozens of times in one night. And the person experiencing it may have absolutely no idea it's happening. That's what makes sleep apnea so easy to miss. You aren't awake thinking, something is wrong with my oxygen. You're asleep. So what should you watch for? Loud or persistent snoring. Waking up gasping or choking. Morning headaches. A dry mouth. Feeling exhausted despite spending enough hours in bed. Frequent nighttime urination. Or someone telling you, I noticed you stopped breathing in your sleep. If that sounds familiar, don't simply accept it as normal aging. Talk to your doctor about whether a sleep evaluation is appropriate. And if sleep apnea is diagnosed, follow the treatment plan your healthcare professional recommends. Treatment can make a major difference in sleep quality and can also help manage cardiovascular risk factors such as blood pressure. Here's something else you can do while you're waiting to be evaluated. If you snore or suspect your breathing is being obstructed, sleeping on your side rather than your back may help some people. It's simple, costs nothing, but it is not a substitute for proper medical evaluation. And now we're moving to a habit that sounds harmless, but is surprisingly common after 60. I understand why people do this. You don't want to wake up at 2 a.m. You don't want to walk to the bathroom in the dark. And you're worried about falling. So you stop drinking water after dinner. Some people stop even earlier. It makes perfect sense from a sleep perspective. But completely restricting fluids isn't necessarily the answer. If you're thirsty, your body is telling you something. And dehydration can be especially concerning for older adults and for people with certain medical conditions. But there's an important warning here. There is no universal rule that everyone should drink a full glass of water immediately before bed. If you have heart failure, kidney disease, or you've been told to restrict fluids, your doctor's advice comes first. For everyone else, the goal is simple. Stay adequately hydrated throughout the day rather than trying to catch up at bedtime. Drink regularly during the day. Pay attention to thirst. And don't deliberately go to bed dehydrated just because you're trying to avoid one nighttime bathroom trip. If you wake up thirsty, keep water nearby if that's appropriate for you. But remember, hydration needs are individual. Your doctor may recommend something different based on your health. And now we get to the fifth habit. It might be the easiest one to change. And it costs almost nothing. Quick question. What's the temperature in your bedroom right now? Most people have no idea. They think about comfort. But temperature can also affect how your body regulates itself during sleep. A bedroom that's too warm can make it harder to sleep comfortably. You may sweat more. Your heart rate may stay higher. And poor sleep itself isn't good for your overall health. But extremely cold conditions can also be uncomfortable and can cause your blood vessels to constrict, which may increase blood pressure. So instead of turning your bedroom into a sauna or sleeping in an icebox, aim for a temperature that feels comfortably cool to you. A commonly recommended bedroom range is around 18 to 22 degrees Celsius or 65 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Although individual comfort matters, you don't need a fancy gadget. You don't need an expensive sleep system. Sometimes a simple thermostat adjustment is enough. And now let's put all 5 habits together. Imagine your evening like this. Around 6 or 7 p.m., have your main meal. Keep the portions reasonable. Choose a balanced combination of protein, vegetables, and carbohydrates that fits your dietary needs. Then give your body time to digest. Around 7 p.m., take your medications exactly as prescribed. And if you take blood pressure medication, make sure you've discussed the timing with your doctor. Don't change it yourself. Between 8 and 9 p.m., start slowing down. Take a gentle walk if appropriate. Read, talk with your family. Reduce stimulating activities. And begin putting the phone away. Around 9 p.m., prepare your bedroom. Make the temperature comfortable. Dim the lights. Keep anything you may need nearby so you're not stumbling around in the dark. When it's time for bed, give yourself enough time for a full night's sleep. And if you snore heavily or have signs of sleep apnea, don't simply ignore them. Get evaluated. That's the routine. Not complicated. Not expensive. Not extreme. Just a series of small decisions that can support healthier nights. Now let me tell you something important. The goal of this video isn't to make you afraid of going to bed. It's the opposite. The goal is to make you more aware. Because many health problems don't come from one dramatic decision. They come from small habits repeated hundreds or thousands of times. A late dinner, a missed medication dose, ignoring loud snoring, not drinking enough throughout the day, sleeping poorly, repeating those patterns night after night. And eventually they can become part of a much larger health problem. But the good news is this: you can change habits. You can ask questions. You can get evaluated. You can talk to your doctor. And you can make tonight a little healthier than last night. So before you go tonight, remember these 5 things. Number 1, don't make a huge, heavy meal your last activity before bed. Number 2, if you're taking blood pressure medication, ask your doctor whether your current timing is appropriate. Number 3, don't ignore loud snoring, gasping, witnessed pauses in breathing, or persistent daytime exhaustion. Ask about sleep apnea evaluation. Number 4, don't intentionally deprive yourself of fluids all day just to avoid waking up at night. Stay appropriately hydrated according to your doctor's advice. And number 5, keep your bedroom comfortably cool. Not excessively hot and not uncomfortably cold. 5 habits. 5 opportunities to take better care of yourself. And I want to leave you with one thought. Your heart has been working for you every minute of your life. You don't feel it beating most of the time. You don't think about it when you're watching television. You don't think about it when you're talking to your family. You certainly don't think about it when you're asleep. But it's there. Working. Every minute. Every hour. Every night. So don't wait for a dramatic warning before you start paying attention. Sometimes protecting your heart isn't about doing something extraordinary. Sometimes it's about making one small decision before you turn off the light. A better dinner time. A conversation with your doctor. Getting that snoring checked. Staying properly hydrated. Making your bedroom comfortable. Small choices. Repeated consistently. That's where prevention begins. And if you recognized yourself in even one of these 5 habits, don't panic. Just pick one thing to improve tonight, then build from there. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 nighttime habits do you recognize in yourself? If you know someone over 60 who needs to hear this, send them this video. Because sometimes the information that protects someone's health isn't complicated. They simply haven't heard it yet. And one final reminder. This video is for general educational purposes and isn't a substitute for personalized medical care. Never change your medication dose or timing without discussing it with your own healthcare professional. Take care of your heart. You've only got one. Good night. Sleep well. And starting tonight, give your heart a little more care.